Oh dear. I'm not doing very well tonight. We've got Richard's horrible desk in the background and the horrible lamp Anyway, we're here. I've got light behind me. I should have closed the curtains. Anyway, we're here. Hello, everyone. This is going to be weird. This is going to be quick, I feel. I have dogs scratching on the other side of the door. Polly's looking unimpressed with me. But I do have some Gewurztraminer, which I think is a good place to start. I know not everyone was able to find Gewurz, but for those of you who have, well done. And for those of you who haven't, doesn't matter, just enjoy about it anyway. John and Cotty are eating thyme goat's cheese and what was that? Thyme, oh God, no, I've lost it. Polly, cut it out. Oh my God, I've lost it completely. Okay, let me start again. Hello, Fiona and David. Cotty and John have got a thyme Gruyere and onion tart. That sounds delicious. David's made a nuggy duck and lychee curry, which would be fabulous with some Gewurzes. Kay had a horrible day today. She went all the way to find a Pinot Gris at a special shop and then dropped it at the last minute on the doorstep. So I'm so sorry about that, Kay, but I noticed that you have something Australian to look at. I'm having trouble reading this and even seeing myself with all the reflections, so I hope you guys can hear and see me. So hello, Cotty and John. Hello, Rita and Enrico. How are you? Kay, yes, hello. Emily and Kevin, g'day. Michael's in Noosa with a Gewurztraminer. Well, Grüne anyway, whatever. Enjoy what you are drinking. It's the G's, it's the two G's, the Grüne last week and the Gewurztraminer this week. It's very tricky. Dan and Paige is a few minutes away. Hello, Paige, when you get here. Hello, Sarah. It was lovely to see you at Moorooduc on Sunday. Thank you so much for coming. Lovely to see you here again. Cotty and John are having the Pooley Gewurz. Excellent. Alison, hello. Salted chips and Gigi from I don't know. I don't know what that means. Reuben Sanger for Kay. Yum, delicious. I thought that sounded pretty good. Michael's got Dopf. Excellent. That'll be nice. Hello, Sonia from Canberra this time. G'day. Hello, Jeff and Sue. From your message before, it suggests to me that you don't have any Gewurz. Alison's doing the Gewurz Gris from Ministry of Clouds. Good choice. There's also the Aromatico from Espinal, who I think is something that David and Fee are drinking. Pulled the cork out of that. It smells all right. So I know my family's going to come up and take this bottle away from me in a minute, so I'm going to pour myself a nice big glass, so because I won't be getting seconds for this, and I feel like I need it. Emily found the Hugel, but the 2020 vintage. Oh, fantastic. Visited Barney today and got some Stagio 24 Gewurz. That'll be delicious. Excellent. Oh, good, Michael. You have got Gewurz. Excellent. Peter, hi. How's things going downstairs? At least all the doggies got fed before I ran up here. Rita's having soft ripened cheese. Yum. Who have I missed? I don't think I've missed anyone yet. Pooley for the tricks. Excellent. Peter reckons he's having Ministry of Clouds, but I don't think he's telling the truth because he's downstairs drinking Moorooduc Estate Pinot Gris, unless he's found a Ministry of Clouds. David, very funny. Gewurztraminer. I even got myself. I got myself mixed up with my R's and my T's and my R's in Gewurztraminer. Dan, I will come back to your serious question in just a moment, difference between Gewurztraminer and Traminer. Craig is saying it's like drinking a flower bed. Hello, Craig, and all the Goodmans. Okay, so hello, Shell and Andrew. They're in spirit, legging it back to the Airbnb with some pick pool, I believe. So that'll be fun. Peter and Karen have got a Zind Humbrecht from Alsace. Fantastic. That's a beautiful one. It'll have a bit of residual sugar, Peter and Karen, but it'll be pretty delicious, I reckon, with a chicken souvlaki. Barney's actually tastes a lot like Pinot Gris. Hello, Rob and the Vitesse household. Dot Finhand, the only bottle in Dan's in Mornington. Well done. Very different to the Pooley for Barney's. Yep. Okay, cool. Well, let me start by having a little smell and a taste of this because I feel like I need a glass of wine, a mouthful of wine anyway. So Gewurztraminer, it's a hard grape variety to spell. It's a German name, grown traditionally in Germany and in Alsace, which has been German for at least as much time as it's been French. It's currently French and hopefully will continue to be French for many years to come. But Gewürz means spicy, and Traminer is the genus of grape variety. So Gewurztraminer means spicy Traminer. And really these days, Traminer and Gewurztraminer are usually fairly interchangeable. A lot of people will put Traminer on a label because it's easier to spell than Gewurztraminer, as Steve has said. Very hard to spell, Steve. Hello, welcome to Drinks with Kate. Peter and Karen, not afraid of residual sugar. Good, excellent. The dyes are here. Got the memo late, so all we could get was the Lawson's Dry Hills. Yum, delicious. Delatite Dead Man's Hill is your normal Australian Gewurz go-to, and that's also a very delicious wine. So Gewurztraminer as a grape variety, it's related to it's Christy's come to get the bottle, so it's, no worries. Rusty, don't eat Polly's dinner. Come on, Rusty. We're having to separate the dogs because they're all eating each other's food. So this one I love because it's a really classic Alsace Gewurztraminer. And anyone who's studied German knows that the Germans love to just take a whole lot of words and stick them together to make a bigger word. So hence Gewurztraminer, spicy Traminer. What we look for in a spicy Traminer is that beautiful ginger is a classic descriptor. Fresh ginger, sometimes glacé ginger or crystallized ginger, sometimes pickled ginger. I'm getting a real kind of just freshly grated fresh ginger here, but even more than that, I'm getting rose petals and I'm getting light cheese, and they are the classic descriptors for Gewurztraminer. A lot of Gewurztraminer is very is made as a dry wine, which is confusing to people who don't understand the grape variety because it smells so floral. It makes people think that they've got a dessert wine, a sweet wine in their hands, and then they put it in their mouth and they're a little bit shocked and their brains kind of can't compute what's going on. So that's the first thing that you need to kind of come to terms with Gewurztraminer is some of them will have some residual sugar, a lot of them won't. And they don't need residual sugar to be good. But that fresh ginger is a character that we see in quite a lot of good Australian Gewurztraminers. Rob's getting fresh ginger in his. Kay's getting plenty of ginger in the Symphony Hill. Fantastic. Dan's seeing, Dan and Paige are drinking the same wine as me. Lots of lychee on the nose and pickled ginger on the palate. I haven't put it in my mouth yet, so both quite in your face. Hard to get much else, but not in a bad way at all. So I also get a real pink rose petal kind of character to this wine. Michael's getting ginger and grown up something here in buckets. Garagiste has a lychee note and a little residual sugar. Goes better with the duck lychee and curry than the Pooley. The Pooley's highly aromatic, absolutely, very spice and a little bit spritzy, says Connie. That's just because it's young. It'll settle down. The Protero has got a mix of Gewurztraminer and Pinot Gris, and I think there's some Sauvignon Blanc in there. So it's not a straight Gewurz, but they use the florals of the Gewurz to really kind of bring the lift to that wine. A little bit of residual sugar there to make it a nice wine for spicy food. But I really loved the article that I quoted a little bit from that Tamlin Curran wrote about matching food to Gewurztraminer, because that's the other thing that freaks people out. They smell it and they go, dessert wine, and then they taste it and say, oh, not such a dessert wine. This has got a little bit of residual sugar, the Hugel, but it's got really lovely acidity. It's got a little bitter finish to it. Gewurz, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc. Oh, thank you, Craig. I thought, yeah, Riesling, that makes sense. Give it a bit of extra acid. There's a lovely textural quality to this wine as well, which I think is an important part of good Gewurz. It has a sort of a slightly slippery texture to it, lots of glycerols there. So it's pretty texturally as well as perfumed and flavour-wise. So it's a big wine. So how do you match it to food? Well, as Tamlin said, it's a big wine with big flavours. You can match it to food with big flavours, which I think is a pretty good bit of advice. Traditionally in Alsace, you would have this wine with Munster cheese, and anyone who's had Munster cheese knows that it's pretty full on. Mum and Dad bought some Munster when they were in France once and travelled around in a hire car with Munster in the back of the car and for one night and ate it the next day, and the car stank of Munster for the rest of the trip. They were a little bit embarrassed. But Munster is delicious as well as stinky and works very, very well with this kind of wine. Also in Alsace, a really traditional dish to have with a Gewurztraminer, whether it be dry or whether it be a Vendange Tardif, slightly sweeter style, but not an SGN, which is Sélection de Grain Noble, which is a dessert style, very high sugar, very botrytized style of Gewurztraminer, which is also delicious. That's a great dessert wine. We can talk about that later. But Munster is banned on trains. Yeah, absolutely, Peter and Karen. Nice. What's David? Nice Hertz in German for Hertz. Sorry, you've lost me again. My brain is not quite up to speed tonight. Oh, hire card. Thank you very much, David. A really great match to this is a very unusual dish that we don't see very much here, which is pig knuckle on sauerkraut. So you've got the vinegar and the fermented cabbage and the sauerkraut and juniper, and then you've got a smoked pig knuckle that's been cooked for ages on top that kind of comes apart. If you're not into, and pig knuckle can be pretty stinky as well. It's probably not allowed on trains either, like durian and Munster. But if you can't come at pig knuckle or pig knuckle, as they say in Alsace, hang on a sec. I'm going to let Polly out because she's being a pain. Polly, go away. Go talk to your friends. Go on. I had a feeling this was going to disintegrate fairly quickly. A really good, slightly more user-friendly dish to go with Gewurztraminer is an Alsace choucroute garni, which is sauerkraut, or choucroute is the French name for sauerkraut. And then they will have bits of thick-cut grilled bacon or pork belly. You'll get a couple of really good frankfurters. There'll usually be a bit of pork loin or something like that sort of sliced on it. It's delicious, sort of smoky pork and, again, sauerkraut vinegariness, pretty delicious. Kay had a fabulous pig knuckle at the House restaurant in Harndorf a few years back. If you're going to eat pig knuckle, Barossa is a very good place to do it because they're more classic German than the Germans these days. But this grape variety, these wines can go very well with certain Asian flavors as well. And so I think that, you know, there's the sort of the outrage from Asian friends in Singapore and Thailand and in Hong Kong about matching Gewurztraminer to Chinese or Asian spicy food is kind of like us saying red wine with cheese. You need to choose what kind of cheese works well with what kind of red wine and be a little bit more specific with your matching. So I think that Fee and David's duck and lychee curry would be delicious with this wine. It'll bring out the spice, it'll bring out the rosewater, but it'll also make it probably taste a little bit more savoury. Pig knuckles are very popular street food in South Korea, Rob says. And I think that probably Korean flavours could work very well with this, particularly if you're going down sort of porky routes. Rita is controversial, but she doesn't love her wine. I got the Gustav Lorenz from Alsace. Okay, I don't know that producer, Rita. Tell it, what is it? Is it the perfume? Is it the flavour? Is it the little bit of does it have a little bit of sweetness that's making you not love it? Because I'm really glad that you've brought this up, because not everybody loves Gewurztraminer. It's a big, bold personality of a wine. In Australia, in past times, people who were trying to grow Gewurztraminer got really stressed out because if they left, like Pinot Gris, if you leave it on the vine for long enough to get the perfume, you lose some of the natural acidity of the grape variety, and they worried that they didn't have enough acid to hold the wine together. A lot of Australian Gewurzes from 10, 15, 20 years ago either didn't have perfume or were too kind of heavy and gloopy in flavour. And I think that finding the right places to grow it, and I think that Adelaide Hills is probably a good place to grow it. Tasmania seems to be a very good place to grow it. Up in the Alpine Valleys, central, sort of elevated central Victoria is great. So I think that it's a style of wine that doesn't work for everyone, so it's okay, Rita, if it's not. Symphony Hill in Stanthorpe, Kay is saying. Okay, Rita says it feels like drinking perfume. It's quite mineral on your tongue. So that combination of that aromatic perfuminess and then the savoury minerality on the palate just isn't working for you. And I understand why. It's a bit jarring when you're not used to it. It's so Gewurztraminer as a grape variety is an aromatic grape variety, and if you ever get a chance to eat it ripe from the vineyard, it tastes like the wine smells. It tastes of roses and lychees and sweet grapiness, and the wine smells like that as well. But because all the sugar's been turned into alcohol, mostly, sometimes there's a little bit of residual sugar, as we discussed, this wine has that minerality and savouriness on the palate, which is kind of interesting. I think, Rita, probably it's a hard wine if you're not already a huge fan of Gewurztraminer. If this is sort of a new wine style for you, this is a less of a cheese wine and more of a bigger flavour wine, and possibly your cheese is not strongly flavoured enough to sort of boost the wine up to where it should be. You probably need some smoky, meaty flavours. A quiche Lorraine could work with it. It can cope with sort of eggy, cheesy flavours. The onion tart, all of the sort of the sulphur and the sweetness of onions works really, really well. So yeah, but Rita, if it's not for you, that's okay. It just means that you can just cross Gewurztraminer off your list and move on and taste other things. It doesn't mean I won't keep trying to convert you, though. Cotty said she never liked Gewurz much until tasted the one we had at WSET tasting. Was a revelation. That's a terrific wine. That's a step up in quality from this wine, the one that we use for WSET. It's a little sweeter. It's from a Grand Cru vineyard. It's very lychee, very rose petally, and really quite delicious. The one that we use for WSET. So that's another wine that I could just drink by itself. It doesn't need any food. Dan's just noticing it's 14.5% alcohol. It needs to be that ripe to have the level of perfume that we've got. Excuse me, I've got a dog at the door. I'm just going to let her in. Speak amongst yourselves for a moment. Holly, you've been a pain. She doesn't want to miss out on hearing all of you guys' comments. It doesn't taste alcoholic because it's got all that perfume. It's got that lovely balance, but it is quite viscous. Rob's saying, and that's right. It has the extra glycerols that give it a viscosity, which makes it pretty tasty. Shell and Andrew are having vegan duck pancakes in Newtown. Bring out a serious lemon flavour in the pig pool. So Pickpool, completely different grape variety, but I'm glad you're enjoying Shell and Andrew, and that's pretty cool. Nareem is saying it's surprising how well these wines age as well, and that's absolutely true. They don't all age well, but a lot of them really do. And the Hugel is about a $50 wine in store, and it ages beautifully for sort of 10 to 15 to 20 years. Polly, stop it. Hang on, I have to show you my wicked dog. Polly, everybody's listening. You have to be quiet. Shh. She's overexcited. She's got all her cousins here. Do vegan ducks quack? Craig wants to know, Shell. As the wine airs, it gets more of that sort of rose petal note. It smells a little bit like really good soap, and that puts people off as well because it has that slightly soapy kind of perfumey kind of a character to it, which I quite like. But I remember we did Pinot Gris a few years ago with David, our English vineyard helper in, God, when was that? That would have been 2021. And I got him to talk about, was it David or was it one of the Americans? I can't remember now. It might have been Peter from America. Anyway, I asked one of them to talk about, I was asking them to talk about the Pinot Gris, the Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris that we made here, which had a little bit of residual sugar. And he said, well, I actually hate Pinot Gris. It smells like my grandmother's bathroom. So Alison, don't be put off by soap. Just ignore that comment. I think that lanolin-y character that Kay is mentioning, a little bit of beeswax, is coming in there. But I think the reason I mentioned, and I probably shouldn't have mentioned soap, but it's one of the criticisms that people make of Gewurztraminer and also very floral, aromatic Pinot Gris will often have that kind of character. Michael says that the Dopf is quite a luscious. It's a better Gewurz. Wine aside, definitely recommend Nagi's duck curry recipe, a winner. How long did it take you to make it, David? Was it a long process? Because sometimes these curries can take forever to get all the flavours balanced. But I do like a duck and lychee curry. Pretty delicious. Rob's drinking the Dopf as well. Very delicious. Very good. 1 hour, David. That's pretty good. So my sister Rebecca, who's downstairs, is a huge fan of Gewurztraminer, and we usually have a little bottle at Christmas usually, which is why Chrissy came up to get the bottle fairly enthusiastically because they all like this wine. Fiona and David use Marion's Kitchen red curry paste better than Valcom. Okay, fair enough. Cotty, I don't think that your taste buds are shot. There is a little Szechuani pepper spice. So that's coming back to the spiciness. We talked about ginger, but we didn't talk about the other spicy characters. And Szechuan pepper is a real classic for certain Gewurztraminers because it doesn't have a chili spice character. So if you remember last week, the Gewurztraminer had a little chili spiciness at the back of the palate. This is more Szechuan pepper than chili. Absolutely, that little bit of warmth, but in a different aroma profile. Michael, I would love to put some Gewurz into our experimental 2 rows of vines that we're planting hopefully this winter. We're not sure whether we'll be able to find the right vines, but also Gewurztraminer is a grape variety that maybe needs a slightly cooler climate, and it's getting warmer here. If I have my way, we'll put a few vines in just to see if they go okay or not. Gewurztraminer as well from last week. I think they're both really interesting grape varieties. They're wines that I drink on a regular basis. Does it sell? Alison wants to know. It's so Australian Gewurz is harder to sell than some other things, but people who love it. So we wouldn't be making huge amounts. As some of you found, it was quite hard to find a decent Alsace Gewurztraminer out in the world, particularly down here on the Mornington Peninsula. It's certainly not in Newtown. Yeah, I mean, Dan's doesn't have a lot of it. And I think that people still are very confused by Gewurztraminer. They think it's supposed to be sweet. They think it's too perfumey. I think there's lots of things going on. Emily's 2020 Hugel has too much residual sugar. That's a shame. Barney makes his Gewurztraminer almost completely dry. It's really lovely and minerally, and that's one of the wines that. So I've been helping the guys at Torello put together a little wine store in their fruit and veggie store in now are they in Dramana? They're sort of at the bottom of Red Hill. Anyway, if you haven't, I've talked to you about Torello before, but they put on the Barney's Gewurztraminer, the Stagiaire that you guys have got. And they're really surprised at how many bottles of that they've sold already. I said to them it might be a little bit of a tricky hand sell, but their customer base obviously appreciates a good little Gewurz, or perhaps knows about Barney's skills, because that's one of their biggest sellers at the moment, which is really funny. I'm pleased to report that Moorooduc's doing quite well for them as well. So yeah, very good. Okay, my beautiful people, I'm sorry to cut and run, but absolutely, Rita, go to Torello and grab a bottle of Barney's wine. It's delicious. And it might be more to your taste. It's a bit less perfumey. It's a bit drier. It's a bit more textural. It's pretty interesting. Craig, maybe a comment for later, but what do you make of the supposed wine glut, a low-end thing? Craig, that's a big question to ask, and I think that there absolutely is a wine glut, but it's a wine glut that is affecting, as you say, big quantity, lower price, lower quality wines, and there's a lot of wine in tanks all around Australia. Lots of Shiraz, lots of dry white wine. It's all a little bit sad, but there are other people like us who can't keep up with demand. So it's sort of a tale of two wine industries, and I think the wine industry's differentiating itself so much. Really pretty interesting. So Sonia's finding her wine too sweet, not so good generally. If you've got a sweet Gewurz, pop it aside and either have it with some sticky cheese later on, or have it with some quince tart. It's terrific with quince or with stewed pears, that kind of thing. If it's got a lot of residual sugar in it, it'll hang in there until tomorrow as well if you don't have the appropriate thing although tomorrow the shops are all closed, so forget that comment. I'm going to love you and leave you now. I do have family waiting for me, and the sun's coming in the window, and it's getting harder to see you, harder to see myself. It does look quite Oh, there we go. If I put my head in the way, I thought I was going to get a halo, but it didn't work. Anyway, you're welcome, Shell, for the quickie, or the quiche, as we pronounce it here. It's been awesome, everyone. Have a beautiful Easter. Don't forget your buns tomorrow, and don't forget your chocolate on Sunday. I will see you all next week for the beginning of box. Oh, thank you, Kay. Box 2, wine 1 next week. Can't remember what it is. Doesn't matter. I'll send you an email on Monday. And until then, have a beautiful weekend. Love you all. Think of me making wine tomorrow. It's the winemakers. It's a busy time. So we'll have hot cross buns on the job. Cheers, everyone. Happy Easter. See you soon. Oh, how do I close? Oh, they've moved my button. Here we go. End stream. See you later, guys. Love you lots.